I have been dating this guy, Mark, who has a 14-year-old kid, Jennifer, for a while now. I have only met her a couple of times, so we aren't that close. I started seeing her often after I moved in with Mark during his custody time. We get along fine and I think we are bonding well. There is just one issue. Since I grew up in poverty, I hate wasting food. Jennifer has an issue with food. I am not talking about being a little cranky when hungry. She would cry and scream and even break things if dinner gets delayed by half an hour. During her last visit, work was very hectic for me and Mark. Mark had to go to office while I work from home. Since I knew how busy I would be end of day and how Jennifer gets, I woke up early, prepare breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I informed her the same. End of day, I am in so many meeting and calls, and Jennifer barged in 15 past her dinner time and told me serve her dinner. I reminded her that the dinner was in the fridge and all she had to do was heat it up. She comes back 15 minutes later and told me that she threw the food away and now she wanted me to give her a snack for the time being and make her something else. I told her that I am not going to do that and then locked myself inside to study. I could hear her screaming and crying and I refused to give in. Once my work was done, 2 hours later, she was still crying. She never heated the dinner. She tried it cold, didn't like it, threw the entire dinner for 3 away, and then started demanding me for a freshly cooked dinner. She begged me to cook her something, and I told her that I already did cook her something and that she threw it away. I told her she can either cook for herself or wait until her father comes home and he can cook for her. I went to bed hungry as I was so tired. Next day, Mark told me that he didn't get home until midnight and she was still sobbing when he arrived. Although he agrees that Jennifer was acting entitled, he also says that I should have just cooked her something once my work was done as I knew about her food issues instead of letting her cry for hours. I got pissed off and told him that I am not cooking for either of them anymore. Am I the idiot here? Your boyfriend needs to get her tested if he hasn't already. These are signs of disability, maybe autism spectrum disorder or behavioral disorder. I do not believe she is spoiled. A breakdown or a meltdown is not a tantrum. Should you have cooked for her? Maybe. Maybe not. But you absolutely should have talked to her to try to figure out what was upsetting her so badly. She cried for 2 hours. You as the adult locked yourself away rather than trying to help her. Even at 14, people with mental or developmental issues need help. Not the idiot, and I can't believe she threw food away for 3 people. Even if she hates it, she needs to ruin everyone's dinner. She should have to pay for the ingredients that went into making the dish and have to cook the replacement meal for 3 by herself. I can't believe that her parents allow her to pull crap like that. Clearly, she's been allowed to call the shots and doesn't respect parental figures at all. At 14, she can make her own food if she doesn't like what's provided for her. There's no excuse for this behavior. Not the idiot. If her issues are that extreme, there should be de-escalation plans or techniques, and he should have thoroughly gone over them with you. If they aren't actively getting this treated with a professional, then it's not that serious to them and she's just tantruming. So, no, you don't have to make a second meal for that. Surely she can make a sandwich at 14 if she decided to throw a whole meal away. In addition, her dad needs to be the one waking up and making sure she has all her meals ready for the day. That's his job, and he's had 14 years to learn her feeding needs. Okay, so my mom was super restrictive about what I wore. As a kid and teenager, I was only allowed to wear pink, baby blue and red. Worst, it all had to be one color and the same 2 outfits. A polo shirt with a skirt or a sweater with a long dress. No winter jackets or pants, which wasn't a big deal because I live in North Carolina, but still. I also had to wear pigtails all the time. I had to wear this outfit at all times except when in bed. My parents are divorced and when I went to my dad she would force me to send her pictures of myself every hour or so, and if I wasn't dressed up to her standard, she would ground me for 2 weeks when I went back to her house. Eventually, I had a breakdown around 16, and to make a long story short, I ended up living with my dad and basically visiting my mom every once in a while. Around this time I got into the whole industrial cybergoth thing. Ended up dyeing my hair black, wearing all black, and getting a ton of piercings. I was like this for the rest of high school. Eventually started adding more color to my outfit. I white and purple and ended up becoming a bit less goth, but black is still my favorite color. When I visit my mom now, I make sure to be as goth as possible and sometimes go overboard, like painting my skin white and stuff. And I know it drives her insane, but I only visit her when she has other family members over. She doesn't really have the balls to say anything when other people are around. My friend thinks I'm the idiot because I'm trying to get revenge, so am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You don't owe it to her to change your appearance to meet her standards. Especially if you don't live with her. You are not doing anything wrong by being yourself. She's 100% in the wrong for trying to control you to an excessive extent when you're either almost or are an adult woman. Personally, I feel like she should be honored to even have you visit, to be honest. I would never visit a parent who tried to lock down who I am as a person, especially when they aren't even my full-time caretaker. Put on extra dark black lipstick next time you see her for me. Not the idiot. However, at this point, I think you're only continuing to hurt yourself. Even if now it's by your own choice, you're still putting a lot of energy into thinking about and acting on how you present yourself to your mother. When will you truly feel comfortable dressing how you want to dress, rather than doing so to make a point? I'm not saying you need to give this up tomorrow, but I hope you can start separating yourself from this idea soon, only so you can start moving on. Everyone's the idiot here, though I really wouldn't call you an idiot for it. I would say it's incredibly pointless and petty, and you will be happier if you find some way to let go of it. Be yourself wherever you are. If you want to dress extra goth, do that. If you don't. Don't compromise or change your identity for anything, including spite. Why on earth was your mom so restrictive? I've heard a lot of family stories, and never in my life have I heard of a parent micromanaging their kids' fashion that much. My 18-year-old best friend has what I would describe as baby fever. She wants to have a baby really badly. She asked me my opinion, and I was horrified that she would even ask me or need my opinion on this. I was not rude and I wasn't jumping for joy, and I think she wholeheartedly thinks this is the way to go. She just started dating her boyfriend a month ago. She already wants to marry him and have kids with him. And she wants the kids first. She's trying to get pregnant. She says her plan is to get pregnant and move into the manufactured home her boyfriend's parents are gifting him. She is super big on her appearance, and it's extremely important to her. If she gets one zit, she has a breakdown. I tell her, but what about your body? Are you sure you want to do this so young? She seriously looks me in the eye and says her body will go back to exactly the way it is and nothing will change. This is when I gave her an incredulous look, and she got mad at me and called me a bad friend for not supporting her and that I'm ignorant to how pregnancy works. I may be young, but I know for a fact that there's no way she's gonna look the same after she has a baby, considering she's short like I am as well. I told her that if she wants to have kids, that's her prerogative, but I don't really want to have kids because I also care about the way my body and appearance are. She calls me selfish and that I'll regret not having kids someday. I just want dogs though. Anyway, this isn't the point. She thinks that by having a baby it will fix her life. She will stop doing medicine, smoking cigarettes, drinking, and get a place to live. I told her she should do all that first and not after. She says I'm an idiot and I should support her, yet she doesn't support me not having kids. This chick turned off her fake baby in high school. How is she gonna handle a real one? This is serious stuff. Not the idiot. I had a roommate that had baby fever at 17. She got pregnant at 18, moved in with her boyfriend who turned out to be mean. She started drink often, then gave her baby to her aunt when the baby was a year old. She may think being pregnant and having a baby will be wonderful and get her a lot of attention, but it's not just about how her body will change. Once she's pregnant, her hormones will double every few days. Anger, sadness, happiness, etc. will increase a lot, and her boyfriend and other people in her support network have to be ready and willing to help with that. Not the idiot at all, but I'm going to go with a slightly different approach than the comments I'm seeing. I understand that she's legally an adult, but where are her parents, or the rest of her support system? I see a lot of irrational, extreme thinking and unstable, dangerous behavior, signs of serious mental illness. That's absolutely not your responsibility to deal with, and you should feel free to cut ties with her, but if there are other people in her life who aren't aware of the things she's saying and doing, you might want to fill them in first. Not the idiot. She asked you what you think, you were being honest. It sounds like she is trying to find what she feels is an easy solution to her life that she doesn't like. You are a good friend for being honest. The biggest thing you want to communicate is that you care about her and are saying this because of that. If the boyfriend doesn't know how baby crazy she is, it might be worth letting him know. I knew a few girls exactly like your friend, and they did some bad things to eventually get pregnant in their baby insanity. Chinese New Year is almost here, which means there are a lot more family dinners. My family is responsible for hosting all these dinners because we have the bigger house, which means we're also responsible for cooking everything. Every dinner, we have about 20-ish people over, and nobody has any allergies or diet restrictions, except for one cousin. I don't know her all that well at all, and I don't have her on Facebook or any way to contact her. I only thought that she is vegetarian because that's what my aunt told me. She said my cousin eats noodles made from eggs and has no issue with eating vegetable dishes with animal products in it, so I thought for sure she's not a vegan since they're against all animal products. My parents were responsible for cooking various dishes for all 20 family members, and I was responsible for making the vegetarian dish. I thought it was pretty silly because a lot of Chinese dishes are already vegetarian and she can just eat those, but my parents said she should have a big dish so she wouldn't feel excluded or left out. I made a simple egg noodle dish with various veggies because that's what I had in the house. I didn't have any pasta or noodles that was made without eggs or other animal products. When it was time for dinner, my cousin thanked me a lot for making a vegan dish just for her. I immediately knew I was in trouble. I could have just kept my mouth shut to let her think she was eating something vegan, but I didn't want to lie to her about her diet, so I told her the truth. I said, "Your noodles were actually made from an egg dough. Your mom said you eat it all the time." She freaked the hell out, and I don't blame her because I know I violated her diet restrictions. She threw the dish on the floor and made a big mess. She started yelling at me, and my aunt actually tried to stand up for me by telling her that she eats the same exact noodle dish every week. Apparently, my aunt mixed up veganism with vegetarianism, and she's been feeding my cousin vegetarian dishes for the past 2 years. My cousin had no idea because she never cooks and doesn't know the specific ingredients of what my aunt makes for her. My cousin didn't take the news well and she left the dinner. All my family members, except my aunt, started saying TSK and asked why I would make something like that for my cousin. They blamed me for not being closer to my cousin and not knowing what she likes to eat. I think that's unfair. I know it's my duty as the host to make food for the family, but I don't think it's fair to blame me for the entire situation. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. How big of a self-righteous moron do you have to be to, first of all, not cook for yourself? Secondly, have no idea what your dietary restrictions even are. Third, demand everyone caters to your dietary restrictions, while you do not cook nor apparently know what your own dietary requirements even are. I actually struggled with listing these in any sort of order, they are also so stupid. It's like someone saying they are following a keto diet and only eating sandwiches for every meal. Not the idiot. You prepared a dish for her using the information you were given, and her mom would seem like a pretty reputable source. You did due diligence by finding out about what she eats. The information you got was incorrect. That screws, but it wasn't intentional. Well, I can understand her being upset thinking she has been a vegan all this time and finding out she wasn't following the diet she thought, but absolutely nothing about her reaction was appropriate. Throwing food on the floor and screaming like a toddler is ridiculous. Not the idiot. First of all, you can't be a vegan and not cook for yourself. That's crap and putting it on everyone else. Secondly, being a lifetime vegetarian myself, people have made me lots of dishes in my life. However, it's my responsibility to ask what's in my food. People who aren't vegetarians don't think twice about putting beef broth etc. in things. It just doesn't always click for them, and that's totally fine. Your cousin needs to be held accountable. And the rest of your fam should save their TSKs or start twirling their whisks. My wife recently passed away about a month ago. We have 2 kids, Jacob, 20, and Felicia, 18. My daughter is very introverted, whilst my son is more extroverted, like myself and my wife. I didn't have a close bond with my daughter and was a lot closer to my son, whilst my wife was closer to my daughter. My daughter was more academically driven and spent her time staying at home and studying most nights. She's also very independent and deals with things on her own. So when her mum passed away, I wasn't sure how to handle her, and I didn't know if she wanted comfort or she was okay on her own. When her mother passed away, she didn't show anything openly, she became more reserved and didn't speak much. My parents came down to offer their condolences, and my daughter, who doesn't like them very much, had to be forced to sit at the dinner table. My mother and father were telling me about some females they think that I should consider dating. My daughter said that my wife just died not long ago, and they were already thinking of making me date. My dad told her that she wouldn't understand and that she should not butt into a conversation that wasn't about her. She said that it was rude and inconsiderate, considering that all of us were still grieving the loss of someone significant to all of us. My mother then made a comment saying that she didn't cry at the funeral and therefore she wasn't significant enough to her. Long story short, my daughter screamed at her saying that just because she didn't cry it didn't mean she didn't feel any pain. That she cried herself to sleep every night and would wait near the front door just waiting for her mom to come back home and realize she wouldn't. She looked at me and said that she knows how I see her as some emotionless robot and had only shown Jacob comfort. She was a sobbing mess and I honestly didn't know how to react. She hadn't shown that much emotion in front of people before. My son decided to take her out and away from the situation, and he had texted me saying that I should have intervened and shown her some comfort as that's what she needed. I told him that she was very independent and dealt with things by herself, and he argued that she was still a teenager and that she had emotions too. So, am I the idiot? I honestly don't know how to handle this. You're the idiot. You did nothing for your daughter when she lost her mother. The parent she had the closest connection to. Dude. Even just checking in and asking if she needs anything, or even just saying you're there for her. And why in the hell are your parents trying to get you to date so soon after your wife's passing? Your daughter is absolutely right. They're inconsiderate and rude. How could you do nothing to help her or defend her against them? Everyone grieves in different ways, and they had no right to comment on your daughter's reaction. Oh my goodness, you are the idiot. Your parents are idiots too and shouldn't be encouraging you to date anyone. You should cut them out of your life, but you won't because you're spineless. You should be a better father to your daughter, but you won't because you're a coward. You should better yourself and I hope you do, but that requires effort and I doubt you're going to do that if you haven't done anything so far. I feel bad for both of your kids. Seems they've both lost the only parent they had. You're the idiot. Your parents are extremely rude. You didn't defend your daughter against your parents while they were being rude. Your comments to other posters here make you come off as a terrible father and person too. You're her parent, it's your job to try to protect her from horrible people when you are able. That includes protecting her from family members, like your parents, that treat her horribly too. I'm glad your wife taught your daughter well before she passed.